World peace right now seems expensive, so thanks for sharing our show, World Peace for Free, the world's first ad-free, non-fear-mongering newscast. I'm your time-traveling host, and you're watching in the future, so if you haven't yet, please subscribe so we could be the biggest YouTube channel not part of the ad money program. If you don't know, our show runs on Hypermail, which lets us talk to our fans from the past, future, and present here in the age of retrospection. Fill our DMs with our events you want immortalized on our Instagram timeline at World Peace for Free, hashtag be neighborly. Now, let's see what you send me. Oh, yeah. These letters I hold in my hand are hermetically sealed messages from hyperspace. I could read them to you by the power... I can't open them, but I could read them to you by the power vested in me by... Cornelius deGrasse Tyson. Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I want to take ya. Oh, this one is an invention that kills cancer through sound. Let's check this out. Oh, the messenger. Dear the message. Dear time traveling minister. This is so professional. Thank you very much for listening. All right. Dear time traveling minister. Exactly what I said in the subject line. An invention that kills cancer through sound. But the way the guy in the video describes it is mind-blowing. This video was released July 2019. What other kinds of progress do you think we've made since then? Sincerely, Lindsay Brohan. Gotta love friends that make you laugh, man. All right, here we go. Please work. Please just work.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. We try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. Because we believed there just had to be a better way. There had to be a better way. And we think we may have found it. I have here 2 identical tuning forks, both tuned to the note A, the note an orchestra tunes to. These forks are both made to vibrate 440 times per second. We say their frequency is 440 hertz. If I tap this fork, putting little pulses of energy into it, the second fork will also vibrate in sympathy. And if I silence this fork, we just may hear the other singing its tone. We say that I'm inducing a sympathetic resonant vibration in the second fork. It only works because both forks are tuned to the exact same frequency. Now, many of us have seen this very charming young man on the internet who shatters crystal glasses with his powerful voice. But if you watch him carefully, you'll see that first he taps the glass with his finger and listens. The glass sings its natural resonant pitch. Then he takes a deep breath and sings a loud, long note. He induces a resonant vibration in the crystal glass. The vibration grows larger and larger and larger until the glass is shattered. On the other end of the scale, we have a giant bridge made out of concrete and steel, a suspension bridge, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Cars and trucks and buses are going over it every day. And unfortunately, where they built this bridge, there was a steady wind blowing across it. And one day this wind induces a small vibration in the bridge, hardly noticeable. But the frequency of the vibration matches the resonant frequency of some part of the bridge. And the vibration gets larger and larger and larger until the bridge collapses into the river below. A destructive resonant frequency. So on one end of the scale, we have a giant concrete and steel bridge destroyed by resonance. And on the other, we have a small crystal glass shattered. So maybe we could shatter something even smaller, something really small, something you would need a microscope to see. Maybe we could shatter a living microorganism. So maybe we could change a biological living liquid crystal with a special electronic signal. But in order to do that, we would need some kind of device. So we search the US patent database, and we find this invention by a physician, Dr. James Bear of Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's called a resonant frequency therapy device, and its purpose is to induce a resonant vibration in a living organism or cell. If I put in, say, 100 hertz, out will come 100 pulses per second. If I put in 200 hertz, we'll get 200 pulses. So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. So we try 101 hertz. We look through the scope for 5 minutes, and nothing happens. So we try 102, 103, and so on. Over the course of 15 months, we try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. The answer is you have to have 2 input frequencies, one low, one high, and the higher frequency must be 11 times the lower. It's what we musicians would call the 11th harmonic. When we add the 11th harmonic, we begin to shatter microorganisms like a crystal glass. These are the first videos taken. We showed these videos to our friends in the biology department. They said they hadn't seen anything quite like it. Seems to be a new phenomenon. These organisms are being shattered by our electronic signals. We now know that cancer is vulnerable between the frequencies of 100,000 hertz and 300,000 hertz. So now we attack leukemia cells. Leukemia cell number 1 tries to grow a copy of itself, but the new cell is shattered into dozens of fragments and scattered across the slide. Leukemia cell number 2 then hyperinflates and also dies. Leukemia cell number 3 then tries to make another cancer cell. The new cell is shattered and the original cell dies.
Wow, that's amazing. If you guys want to check out that advice, it's the channel is called Video Advice, and it has 2.9 million subscribers. Goodness gracious! And I think it's because of a high production value. Because, well, that was like the clips that they showed was really like it wasn't from the perspective of a camera in the audience. It was the actual video, and it was interspliced with things that's relatable to now. And the fact that this video was released 2019 kind of tells me something about, I mean, like how quickly technology has evolved since then. Remember last episode, Alan Watts talked about how technology reveals what has already been. Technology reveals what hasn't already been, something like that. And though the necessity for this research was brought about because they needed to have a better way to kill cancer, and look at where we're at now. I think chemotherapy is the way, but what if we're here to ask that question? What if, for world peace, what if we could have the technology that he describes here, where we could kill microorganisms? And I know that the suits probably are trying to figure out ways to weaponize it. Yeah, that's one way to do it, but there's also ways it could heal, and that's the message that we're talking about on our show. The Tacoma, I just looked it up. The Tacoma Bridge collapsed in 1940 due to sound in the same year. And that collapse boosted the research into aerodynamics and aeroelastics, which, from that tragedy came research. And I'm hoping that all of our tragedies with the use of AI, we could look through all our tragedies with AI and see solutions that we, because we're human and emotional, we might have missed. But once again, the show only exists to immortalize the clips you guys want. And I'm really thankful that just in the first few days of our new reboot, we have these videos like talking about possibilities and futures versus politics and nonsense. That, like when we first started. Now, I'm not saying politics is nonsense, but I am saying it's heavy sometimes. And all I could do is just hope that everything is we make it so that everything is okay in the future for our kids. Here we go. Let's check out the next clip, or what do I do here? Oh yeah, this is the next part. Oh goodness gracious, I am so professional. This one has two dudes fighting out about TikTok's crazy user agreement. Dear Eric11282030, I am a fellow time traveler. I highly suggest your channel host my clip. It will be beneficial to your timeline. A prominent figure reads the terms and services of TikTok. Sincerely, Adrian Brody 69696969. Okay, look. I think the whole bro joke thing works only if it's a made up funny way of saying it. Adrian, that's an actual person's name. But let's not do that anymore. Anyway, let's check out this clip.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh my God. I read TikTok's terms of service. I went down a TikTok rabbit hole yesterday.
Yeah, it's good.
I stayed home, smoked a little weed, and I started reading up on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm going to read you this because this is so crazy.
Is it good or bad?
Bad.
So what are you saying? It's a bad place to be?
Listen to this. This is from TikTok's privacy policy.
All right.
It said, we collect certain information about the device you use to access the platform, such as your IP address, user region. This is really crazy. User agent, mobile carrier, time zone settings, identifiers for advertising purpose, model of your device, the device system, network type, device IDs, your screen resolution and operating system, app and file names and types. So all your apps and all your file names, all the things you have filed away on your phone,
Really?
They have access to that. File names and types, keystroke patterns or rhythms. So they're monitoring your keystrokes, which means they know every fucking thing you type.
Wow.
Battery state, audio settings, and connected audio devices where you log in from multiple devices. We will be able to use your profile information to identify your activity across devices. We may also associate you with information collected from devices other than those you use to log into the platform, meaning they can use other computers that you're not even using to log into TikTok. They can suck the data off that. That's what you're agreeing to when you download and start using TikTok. That's wild.
It's insane. My question would be, do you think they did that? They created TikTok just on purpose to have all that?
100%.
Wow.
I think they saw that people are addicted to social media, and they came up with the most addictive version of social media, which is TikTok. It's the most addictive by far. It's the best for sucking people in. My kids are fucking hook, line, sinkered on that shit. And I know a lot of other people are hook, line, sinkered to grown people.
It's good.
It's good. And it starts playing things immediately. The moment you turn it on, it's like playing you a new thing, playing you a new thing. You're like, "Ah!" And you just sucked into it. And all the while, it's monitoring your keystrokes, your audio settings. Well, by audio settings, that means it has access to your microphone. That means it's listening to you right
Just tell me how it ends,
now.
man.
It ends with China having all of your data. And if they develop
If they get all the data,
digital
then
currency,
what? Then what?
well, you're fucked.
Or-
Because if they look, what's going on in China? I don't know if you've
man.
seen this, but they pulled tanks in front of banks to stop people from fucking rioting because they just took all their money. Did you see all that? Yeah. Did you see that shit? No. Oh my God. They have shut down people's accounts, and they're doing a social credit score system in China.
Okay.
And they have digital currency.
Video
of tanks shows Chinese military exercise, not bank barricade. Yeah, according to China and the AP. But if you see what's going on over there with the digital currency, what they have is the ability to tell you can't buy gas. Like, hey, Theo, we don't like the way you're living your life, so you're not going to be able to buy a plane ticket.
China's a dump, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cool people, and I like some of the food, but I think it just. I don't know. I don't like the way they're doing it all.
Any military exercise they're doing when they're putting tanks in front of a bank is intimidation at the very least.
Do you think the
Scaring
people there
people
even
at the very
know what
least.
freedom is anymore? Or you think they're just so brainwashed?
They've never had freedom like we have, so no. I mean, they weren't even capitalist for a long time, right? It was a communist country, and then they realized, you know what? In order to compete, we got to loosen this up a little bit and let some people get greedy and make a shitload of money. And that's what they did. They kind of have a hybrid of capitalism and communism, because in the old days, it was like the government would tell you what you do.
Okay.
And the government would tell you what you get paid.
All right.
And you just did what you had to do. You did what you were told.
Right.
But what they do now is they allow people to get extraordinarily wealthy. So some people, they develop industries, they develop businesses, and they work in conjunction with the government. Like every business that exists in China, say it's a tech business, you are an arm of the government. You're not independent from the government. Like that was the concern with Huawei. Like when they banned Huawei phones from being distributed in America. Do you know about all that?
I don't think so. It's not the gas station.
No, that's Wawa, right? What is that?
You're talking about flip phones?
It's a H. No, they have super complex.
Okay.
Smartphones like Huawei. It starts
Huawei.
with an H. Huawei had some amazing phones.
Oh,
And
Huawei. Okay.
Yeah, with an H.
Okay.
Remember, two
And they
dudes.
had amazing phones that they
Yeah.
were using. Like they had like 100 megapixel digital cameras before anybody did. Really like high end phones, but they also had network devices that were stealing data.
Fancy.
Yeah, well, they were stealing. They were using them as spy devices.
Okay.
Like all this shit that I was reading about TikTok. Well, they have a similar situation with like their routers.
So that's spying. So they're spying
100%,
basically.
100%.
But what do they do once they have all this information? Like, what's the end goal to having it all? Oh, yeah.
FBI found Huawei equipment in Midwest could disrupt nuclear communications. CNN, and that is from yesterday. I'm gonna send you this, Jamie. I'm gonna send you some new thing. Hold on a second.
Dang.
Because this is really crazy. This is some shit that they found out where the FBI director starts talking about. I'll send you this, Jamie. Hold on a second. The FBI director was talking about how bad the Chinese spying is on Americans, and he said it's bigger than every other country.
I just wanted to stop it because, remember, I just want to just let you guys know this is a conversation between two gentlemen on a podcast. What he said, you have to look up. And I only looked up the Huawei thing, and on Wikipedia it says Huawei has also faced allegations that it has engaged in corporate espionage to steal competitors' intellectual property, and in 2019 was restricted from performing commerce with U.S. companies over allegations that it willfully exported technology of U.S. origin to Iran in violation of U.S. sanctions. The company has also been accused in assisting in the mass detention of Uyghurs in internment camps and employing forced Uyghur labor in its supply chain. Now, I'm going to tell you, like, this is what I feel, because there's a channel that somebody sent me called Serpentza, and it's a gentleman that lived in China during that time that he talked about, where they were giving everybody the hybrid version of capitalism before they took everything away, apparently, or taking everything away, apparently. And if you look up at the present time of looking this up, the present time I'm filming this, there's a desperate situation between the banks and the citizens in China. So I just wanted to interrupt. I know I said I'm not going to interrupt during the clips, but the information that was dropped just now. Just remember, all of this information is kind of like Smokey the Bear. It's your responsibility to look it up and prevent misinformation, forest fires.
Combined.
Why do they want to spy on us, though? Because what? Because we are what?
Stealing intellectual property, stealing all your data, stealing credit card numbers, stealing where you're going, tracking you, if you're criticizing the Chinese government, like whatever the fuck your control.
So say one day would it be possible then, if they take all this information, that they could just like commandeer, like say like a business's website, right?
For sure.
Like Nike.
For sure.
And
Listen,
so
let's
then
listen to this guy talk.
Okay.
Listen to this guy talk. Go full screen.
Sure.
Go full screen and then give me some volume.
Biggest threat we face as a country from a counterintelligence perspective is from the People's Republic of China, and especially the Chinese Communist Party. No country presents a broader, more severe threat to our ideas, our innovation, our economic security than China. And they are targeting our innovation, our trade secrets, our intellectual property on a scale that's unprecedented in history. They have a bigger hacking program than that of every other major nation combined. They have stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than every nation combined.
What is the FBI doing about that?
So the FBI is keenly focused on the China counterintelligence threat. We are now moving at a pace where we're opening a new China counterintelligence investigation about every 12 hours.
Jesus Christ. Every 12 hours.
So, like, say one day you could go to a website, right, to buy something, okay?
Yeah.
And China has the information of the website. It has your information. And they could wonder if they could, like, put their own website over it. So you actually just buy it and they send it to you from China and they make the money and that company never even gets there.
I'm sure they could do that. It'd be even worse. How about this? Maybe
Okay.
you develop something. You
right.
develop some new innovative technology.
All right.
But you develop it using an internet that's connected with Huawei devices or some other device that the Chinese government has infiltrated and put third-party access to. So they infiltrate all of your secrets. And when you go to market, they've already created it. So they already have put people to work building the thing that you have worked so hard to develop. They put engineers on it and they do it. So all of our intellectual property, all of our creative pursuits in terms of like innovation, they steal all that.
Wow.
And they build it over there. Do you know they have Apple stores in China that have nothing to do with Apple? Everything's counterfeit.
Oh, dude, one time I went to this Starbucks one time in Jamaica, right? We went in there and somebody had just stolen a Starbucks sign and put it up outside of this place. So we go in and the guy's like, "Welcome to the Starbucks Lounge." He's like, "Can I get you a smoothie?"
And it was in Jamaica?
Yeah, dude.
So he just had a Starbucks sign.
Yeah, it was like a smoothie shop, dude. It was so ridiculous, bro.
Well, other countries have like totally different rules in terms of what you can get away with and what you can't. And China's rules are wild. You know, they have versions of world cities that they've built replicas of in China. Like they have a version of Paris. Have you seen it? Google a Chinese version of Paris. Because they have the kind of money they have in China and because they have like free reign to do whatever the fuck they want, they've literally built cities that they don't even use.
Oh, I wonder if...
What are you wondering?
I'm trying to think what I'm wondering.
Look at this. The Eiffel Tower left is one of Paris' most iconic landmarks. The second largest replica in the world can be found in, say that word.
Tianducheng.
After the Paris Las Vegas hotel in Nevada. Like, look at that one on the right. That is a fake Eiffel Tower. It looks exactly like it. And it's in China.
But that's just like us
But look, they build the buildings. Yeah. Do you have to sign in for this shit?
Everything's
Enter
like
your email.
that.
But look, they made all the different buildings there.
Wow.
That's what's wild. Like they've recreated everything. They've recreated. Look at that. I mean, that is fucking wild. They recreate the building on the corner.
All right, the conversation's almost over. I'm just gonna focus on the worries that pop up in your head, thinking, "Oh my goodness, what if they do look through all my creative outlets that are connected to these devices?" And they start building the things that they... And there is a world where they do that. That could be an issue. I think the only comforting feeling is it'll never truly be what you intended. And I think ultimately, long-term wise, even if that does happen, the public opinion will be swayed by the originators, the original ideas, the original person that made the idea in the first place. It'll be tough to prove, but ultimately, just like how, what happened 5 years after Amber Heard made that statement about Johnny Depp, the truth does come out. And what happens to the person that made the lie first, or did the dirty deed first, their reputation is demolished. And I think somehow deep down, there has got to be somebody in China in the places that make the decision, in a position that can make a decision on this, that knows, like, oh man, we don't want to be we already have the taint of Wuhan COVID and all this other stuff, and Uyghur concentration camps. We should probably lay off on being the villain of the world. But then there's also the same people that are like, oh, but America's also the villain of the world because they did this and this and this with the Tuskegee experiments and the experimenting people and the LSD and blah blah blah, and yeah, once again, I've seen some documents. I've also seen stories, but at the same time, like, I don't know how it affects me other than it just tells me that there's a demand for truth out there. That's it. And also, actually more, it's a demand for a world where these kinds of experiments don't have to happen. And we could probably create an environment where creation is welcomed. There's a saying, I forget, in a book that I'm reading, I think, I'll find it out there. I don't want to leave the camera area right now, especially when I made a promise not to make any cuts for the Rumble audience. But the YouTube audience, it's YouTube friendly, so I'm allowed to do some cuts, and I can't wait to share with you some of the other stuff I learned. I just have to figure out a way to implement it. But that's all I have to say about that clip. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is okay. This one is satire about January 6th, the next day. Context, really? Oh, this one is satire about January 6th, literally the next day. Content creators are quick. All right. Dear Mr. World Peace for Free, lately I've been finding myself more entertained by watching old news and seeing where we are today. Who was right, wrong, and weird? Who was right? Who was wrong? Who was weird? Which is why I'm sharing you a video by Awaken by JP. Okay, thanks for the tongue twisters when you guys send these clips. All right, he went from making fun of vegans to hyper patriot quick. But the thing about YouTube is we could see how he got there. Like your show, but you took off all your old videos. He wrote that all in caps. I think he's mad. I'm not far right per se. If I can make up a term, I'm an old school Bill Maher liberal. Basically, war is bad and weed is good. And now I realize I'm trying to simp so imaginary people don't hate me. God, forget it. Just air my clip, please. Sincerely, Scarlett Brohanson. There's an energy behind that message. I think it's because you're trying to type and making both sides happy, and I could see that you're trying to defend yourself. I promise I'm not far right, but if I can make up a term, I'm an old school Bill Maher liberal. Basically, war is bad and we is good. And I get the environment we created right now. You have to kind of explain yourself, sort of maybe. But I feel the frustration behind the writing of that message, and I will just do what my job is and listen to the clips that you guys send me. Here we go.
The Capitol has been stormed.
This video, by the way, is by a channel called Awaken with JP. It's with JP, not by JP.
Good evening, government property. The Capitol has been stormed, the Georgia Senate runoff election results are in, and the Electoral College has certified the election. We'll tell you what you think about all these things and more, but first...
I love the way how it says this right up to your face. By the way, guys, this clip is in January 7, 2021, the day after January 6th, and I think that's what he was trying to talk about. Because, when he said content creators are quick.
We'd like to begin by congratulating Nancy Pelosi, who earlier this week banned gendered terms like mother and father from being used in the House. It's a progressive step to help dissolve the loving fabric of families that is so troubling. It's also a much needed and powerful step towards censoring God, as God has used gendered terms like man and woman in the Bible. repeatedly. With the admirable left leadership in our country, we can look forward to the evil word of God being progressively eroded away in exchange for the all-loving, omnipresent word of the government, which seems to be more trustworthy than God. On a note of ungodly intellectualism, on January 3rd, the 117th Congress kicked off with a Missouri representative concluding a prayer with "Amen" and "a woman." As the left insists on banning gendered words, their intellectual superiority compels them to make up new gendered words and use them. A woman. A word with a deep and rich meaning to balance out amen. Amen has a meaning of truth and solidarity. As a woman balances out that meaning, it apparently has a meaning of lies and division. Ending a prayer with a woman is a beautiful, subversive way to spit in the face of God and truth while honoring Pelosi, lies, and division. This just in! Happy New Year! It's 1984. A woman will be in the next edition of Newspeak. In other news, the Georgia Senate runoff election results are in, and the left wins both Senate seats. The left got the most votes in an election. Surprising, right? Both Democrats won despite the adversity they faced when...
I think at this time the saltiness comes from the loss of the election, and it's tough because we're also living a year later in the state that we're in right now, and it's like you said. I like your message. It's fun because you could see how we got our show exists so that we see how we got to where we are in the first place. And
Facebook shut down the fundraising pages for both Republican
I remember that. Goodness gracious. Wow.
campaigns. We can only imagine how much the Democratic candidates would have been distracted and probably even heartbroken when Facebook shut down their opponent's ability to campaign. But the left persevered through the adversity for an inspiring win in another decisively Democratic election. With majority control over the House, the Senate, and the presidency, more on that in a sec, the left will now go unchecked. From the same...
This is tough because I know I said I'm not gonna interrupt a lot, but this is tough. Now I see why Babylon Bee and all those satire sites have to have a weird line to tread, and I want to make sure I tread that line. I have to tread that line carefully too. Everybody, this is satire. This is him satiring news clips that happened, and it's just for laughs. Let's see where this goes.
Same people who have brought you unconstitutional mandates like lockdowns and masks, while definitely not deliberately destroying small businesses, you can expect more lockdowns while having additional rights being taken away with spoon-fed reasons that are always in your best interest. This just in! They can't take away your freedoms if you're brave enough to disobey them. Hey, how the hell did this get in here? And it's written in misgendered ink. I want you to find who did this and put them on AOC's blacklist. They'll be the first to go into the new concentration camps. Oh, but when you find him, tell the public and his family that he caught a virus and needs to be taken away to a FEMA camp for health treatments. Now that the left has free reign, you can expect them to push your country to look more...
I love the character he's playing. It's like... It's a fun mix of what you watched in V for Vendetta when everybody knew that the news was fake. And and the whole allusions to 1984, where they're confusing us with more terms and more things to, and it is coming up as if anybody that uses those terms, you can't talk to them right. You know, I feel in my heart that's gotten different. But what's really comforting is knowing that statistically that their opinion is kind of like the minority opinion. The majority of everybody is I hope rational and just be like, yeah, that some of that stuff is kind of weird and nonsensical, but I get it. We're all learning here to grow every day.
More like a democracy while looking nothing like a communist takeover. Not at all. Definitely not that. But if it was that, they'd still call it a democracy while they were doing it. So it'd be cool. And in other news, at the Capitol, as Congress convened to certify votes, hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters gathered so the mainstream media could call them all racists. And indeed, our independent fact checkers has verified each one of them is a racist. And their secondary reason for traveling to the nation's capital is because they're crazy enough to think something fishy was going on in this year's election.
He just posted a photo of what everybody's citing for election fraud, and what that documentary out there is called, like 200 Mules. And it's really bonkers because that, like, you see which side doesn't want you to watch which things, and from what I hear, the 200 Mules documentary is something that everybody's like, no, you're not allowed to watch that. It's super hard to find too, but it's available. But it's available if you want it, which is most information. It's bonkers.
Idiots! These people clearly hate America and are deliberately trying to destroy democracy by ensuring elections are fair and democratic. These protesters' concerns are baseless. They're all conspiracy theorists, and they're also other words that we use to trigger you to automatically view them in a negative light through our mind control tactics. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, Joe Biden won the election hands down. So go home, all you Trump MAGA maggots. This just in, Joe Biden has won the lottery, as you can see here through our exclusive footage of his winning ticket. Congratulations, Mr. Biden. But on a more somber note, unfortunately things turned ugly at the Capitol with violence. There's absolutely nothing funny about that. Before those unfortunate events, protesters stormed the Capitol, as you can see here, when barricades were opened for them by police. Conspiracy theorists suggest that...
So he just showed the clip of the barricades actually being opened by the police. Yeah.
The most unruly protesters were Antifa in disguise, just trying to wreak havoc to make Trump and all his supporters look like they're dangerous and trying to overthrow democracy. Well, luckily our fact checkers have debunked this claim as false, citing the latest science that shows Antifa wouldn't dress like this. The fact checkers also denied that it's even possible the same alleged Antifa member was at a BLM rally in Arizona in June. And here he is pictured at that rally, so you can be certain of what didn't happen according to our fact checkers. And as you can see, socialist media giant Twitter now lets you know through a manipulated media thought control warning that no Antifa activists stormed the Capitol, according to multiple fact checkers. And the fact that Twitter does this doesn't make it any more suspicious. The fact checkers will also let you know that this Trump supporter is definitely not Antifa. That's why he has the communist hammer and sickle tattooed on his hand.
He's showing a picture of a guy with legit hammer and sickle on his hand, being escorted away from the. No, they're not. Yeah, he's being escorted, and yeah, he's
like most.
He took a picture of everybody inside the
Trump supporters do.
Capitol.
And the most disturbing part of this story that we command you to believe is that President Trump was personally inciting these protesters to violence. So much so that Twitter removed a video Trump posted where he said to his supporters at the Capitol, "You have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order." We had the video of Trump's words destroying our narrative about him. Oh yeah, so we're not playing the video, right? Duh, of course not. You ready? That was followed by both Facebook and Twitter locking Trump out of his accounts. Big Tech, the new government that governs our government, heroically stepped in and prevented people from hearing Trump say, "You have to go home. We have to have peace." One can only imagine the further violence and carnage that would have happened if Twitter and Facebook let people see that video. Once again, Big Tech steps in and has done something for us, for our protection. Thank God for Big Tech. A woman. Following Trump's ban on social media, the people that ran Joe Biden for president had Joe Biden inspiringly address the nation on video where Mr. Biden was kept awake for 7.5 minutes. For his very effective speech, Joe Biden received praise from all of the media, according to the media. In his speech, he said, "Democracy is under unprecedented assault." And indeed it is. A democracy is where people vote their leaders into office and have faith that their vote counts in a legitimate election. Otherwise, history always shows there will be an uprising. And we take a break reporting to you on today's uprising to share a poll with you taken from my Instagram. People were simply asked, do you believe the next election will be fair and just? With over 140,000 people viewing the poll, the results are 8% said yes, 92% said no. And there you have it. 92% of people polled agree. Our democracy is under assault. Moving along, late in the night, the Senate voted to reject the objection to Electoral College votes from Pennsylvania. Shocker. And then the House voted to certify the election results. Joe Biden is now the president-elect. He will be your next president. After the vote, President Trump issued a statement, not on Twitter for some reason, vowing a peaceful transition of power. To all of us here at the media, that sounds like he's inciting violence and refusing to leave office. This just in! The few can only control the many if you are in a state of fear. Bravery and saying no to surrendering your rights is what will keep you free. The hell is this? We didn't discuss this at Event 201. Come on, who the hell is doing this? That's it for today's news. Tune in tomorrow as we'll be reporting on the latest science that shows doing your own thinking causes cancer, but letting the media do your thinking for you is healthy. No need to go back to sleep because you already are. Sweet dreams.
That was like an evolution of what George Carlin would want. Well, like that's how. What do I say about that? What do I say about that? It's creation. There's some truth and some of it funny, some of it. Yeah, that was a little bit. It's tough finding words because I was in shock with every single news bit, and also finding myself in my brain going back to that day in January 6th, where it was really, really intense that the pandemic was going on, and friends aren't here anymore. Like it's just there was losses happened and more loss happened. And a lot of us just had to keep on moving forward without actually processing things. And it's good that we have technology like YouTube where we could take a look at someone else's opinion. And wow, I didn't imagine myself to be speechless. But I mean, that's also market research. It tells me that I should probably avoid. I should probably look at these clips before I open them, before I air them here. But yeah, we're learning along the way. That's the point. I'm not saying anything disparaging about that channel, about Awaken with JP. And so far, the reporting is just exactly what it is. It's his opinion on what he notices, and he shares you his sources. And I really appreciate the source sharing, as well as being open with creatively open with what he feels. And as somebody that is really staunchly against a world where I can't speak freely, some of the things that came up is this worry that we might come to that place where our creations and our thoughts are being predicted for us, or there is too many of people believing what they see on the screens. Is the answer to get us all off screens? Is the answer to turn off all our smartphones? I'm not sure. I do know that where we are now with communication and how we could connect with each other immediately, it tells me that we don't need to have this world that people are painting in the negative light. The whole you will own nothing and be happy, that kind of universe. Because there's a way I see this working out, and I'm gonna lay out something that I've been working on, but so don't take this seriously. Because that is the question. How do we balance this massive jump in the evolution of technology while there's people that want to assert their control to create their own world and their own environment with their own ideas. And then there's people that are super religious, thinking the God needs to come back 100%. And I want hold up. I know I do read the Bible every day, and I'm a believer, and I do believe in God 100%. It's just that there is a world. If it's only one idea and one ideology, and just one, no other ideas, then there will be no more ideas being produced. There has to be a dynamic between opposing forces, and we have to have faith in the solutions at that impasse that we find ourselves in our arguments, in our differences, whatever comes around. We have to have faith that we could solve it together without any violence. That's possibly the only thing we should conclude, with all these screens showing us how, like, the worst parts of violence and aggression. But I digress. I've said enough for today. And, there goes my attention for reflection in the age of retrospection. If you saw an ad there, then there's skullduggery afoot, because we're not part of the YouTube ad money program. Please subscribe and share to see what our Blast from the Past newscast does to the algorithm. Remember, you are loved, missed, and thought about every day. Take care, future people. No, I don't want to end it. I don't want to end it yet. No, I want to have some more things to talk about. No, that's a good place to end. Eventually, you'll be seeing me going out with this uniform, asking people questions, asking people what their solution is to peace. Do I say it? Yeah, I'll say it. America for me is a church. It should have been the church. Its existence should be the church of the world, because this is the place where Margaret Thatcher had said that it was Britain was born by history and America was born by philosophy. It was supposed to be here in this land that we have this golden melting pot of ideas, where we could take the best parts of our cultures and showcase them so that we could all learn from each other. Now, in the Joe Rogan clip where they were talking about China, in my mind I see China as the demonstration of corporations and how they're heartlessly run. I'm not disparaging the people of China. I'm just saying, if it's not a nation under God, then it's a nation under the state. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing and there needs to be a war between those two nations. I'm saying that there needs to be a compromise within all of the world's citizens, everybody on the globe. Just understanding, okay, this is if you're in America, there's a responsibility to defend your beliefs in a respectable manner. And then if you're in China, understand what you live with is what you asked for. At least over here, there's a platform for chatting about our differences. But over there, I feel like you could say things, but it's going to be attached to a social credit score. You know, it prevents you from speaking freely. So this show is here to find that balance. We are here to be the Switzerland of the internet. That's the spirit of it. We want a place for everybody to congregate and understand that the world could be a better place if we could all see each other as immortals, the way how it was described in the beginning of this episode. Let me go and pull up that quote. There are no ordinary people. It is immortals whom we would joke with, work with, marry, snub, and exploit. See, if we see it that way, we see everybody born with a message that if we are interested in it, we could listen to it. But you have to be interested. And the biggest sign that you're not interested is when you interrupt people when they're forming a thought, when you abort a thought. But that's for a conversation another day. Let's end it with our closer. Well, what do I say? Well, there goes. You already know. Goodbye, everybody.